I'm going to try and show you something that's impossible, but also allow you to feel it. Now, this is quite a rare thing, so you have to try and hold on to such things. So I'm going to take out an ace. If you ask someone to like name a playing card,
favorite card.
right, straight away they're going to go for the ace of spades, right? Well, look, this in this case is going to be mine. All right, okay. So we'll get rid of this as well. I'll put this in the pocket for now. I want you to take out any red card that you want. So any red one. All right. Okay, I can see it. It doesn't matter if I know what it is. In fact, would you look after those for me? Ready? I can see it. Let's have a look. What is it? Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Let's have a look. Okay, ace of diamonds. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to hold the ace of diamonds in your hand, but in a specific way. I want you to keep it locked inside of your hand like this, but don't let like a corner of it stick out or anything. So put both hands out, one on top of the other like a sandwich. Okay, perfect. All right. Now here's what's going to happen. You ready? I'm going to reach inside of my pocket, remove that ace of spades, and I'm going to throw it into your hand. Right now there are two in there, the ace of spades and the ace of diamonds. Right? Now I'm going to take that ace of diamonds out and I'm going to throw it into this pocket. So now the ace of diamonds is in my pocket and the ace of spades, your favorite, the one that you want, is now in your hands. You ready?
No.
Now at this point, this is just an imagination game. The point where it becomes scary is when it becomes real. Ready? I'm going to reach inside. Right now, I have your ace of diamonds, and these things are hard to hold on to.
He's like, I'm gonna go.
Got it. Look inside.
There's no way.
Rips off the cards.
I didn't feel it move. Like, I didn't feel anything. Wow, that's incredible.
Oh! I told you that!
Shut the up! How are you doing that?
Hopefully now I have your eight of diamonds. You got to hold on to these things, man.
What the What the hell?
Sometimes these things are hard to hold on to.
What?
That's dirty. That does not work.
What? How you do that? How did you do that? Let's do it again.
Basically going to try and show you something that's not only impossible but also feels impossible, right? Which is a rare thing. So you want to try and hold on to it if possible. But if you ask someone to name a card, they'll often name the ace of spades, right? So we basically don't want to use that. I want you to name any red card. Or in fact, you can take one out, in fact, right? So take out a red card. It doesn't matter, I'm going to see it, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to see it. I can look at it if you want. What is that? Okay.
Four of hearts.
Would you take hold of those for me? Just the whole lot, that's it. Here's all I want you to do with this. In fact, hold this in your hands like this with two hands, but don't let like a corner of it stick out. Keep it completely locked together. So put both hands out, one on top of the other, like a perfect, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. Just remember this. Right now, this is just gonna all be in your head. Imagine that I reach into my back pocket and I remove that ace. Ready? And I'm gonna throw it into your hand. Right now, there are two cards in your hand. There's the ace and the four.
Okay.
All right? You just have to take my word for it, but it's true.
I'll take your word
Now
for
I'm
it.
going to take the four out, and I'm going to throw it into my pocket.
Uh-huh.
Now the ace is in your hand, and the four is in my pocket. Are you ready?
Ready.
At this point, it's just an imagination game.
Yeah.
So there kind of needs to be some form of proof, right? Okay, ready, what? This is your four.
What?
This should be the ace.
Oh my God!
You know, these things, like I said at the beginning, these are hard to hold on to, right? Because I now have your 10. Right? And you have my ace. Have a look, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is crazy. You did not open your hand. Wow.
Ace of spades, yeah.
The ace of spades.
You fucking got it.
trying to learn a trick like this for years.
But I want you to imagine that I reach into my back pocket and remove that ace of spades.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it inside. Right now, inside of your hands, there are two. There's your one and there's the ace of spades. Watch. Now I'm going to take your two out and I'm going to throw it in there. Now they've exchanged places.
Okay.
Watch.
So the ace of spades?
Yeah, look. I now have your two.
That's so weird. That's so weird. Okay, I'm done. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
Paper switch. Here we are. Boy, is this a killer. This is a 2-card transposition, but one that happens where there's no other deck. Well, there's no deck involved, really, just 2 cards and they transpose. I mean, there is, but it's sneaky. It doesn't feel like that way. It feels like they just have 2 cards and they just transpose. You're holding it onto this card cleanly and all of a sudden it's gone. This I've been doing for a very long time, and I have different ways of doing it. And I first published this in a small manuscript, creatively entitled Paper Switch. No, Switch, that's what it's called. And it's just, I mean, I'm only interested in things that are practical. I'm only interested in things that I do. I don't ever publish or talk about things that I don't do. And I want to be able to do them in all kinds of environments. And so this works on real people in the real world, as you can see from the performances. And as people that know me, who've seen me do this many, many times in many different ways, this really never fails to just kind of annihilate them, really. And I'm going to go through all the little touches and techniques to make that possible. Aren't we evil? Or kind, whatever it is, I don't know. Now, this really is, like I said, a 2-card transposition, and I wanted to get away from doing like a double lift over here and a double lift over here, and you know, the cards switch and you've got cards involved and techniques going on. I wanted to create this impression of just single cards being involved. I'm holding them, me having them, and then that's it, and they transpose. But how I guide them through that process is what's also important. When you start, let's, for example, imagine I was going to cause these 2 cards to transpose. You know, the 6 and the 4. Okay, and I have the 6 here and the 4 here, right? Doesn't matter what happens. You're going to feel like maybe I misremembered where they went. Even if I said, look, here is the 6 and here is the 4. I turn them over and they changed. You're just going to think, oh, maybe I misremembered something, right? No matter how clear that is. So there's a number of things that I'm going to use in this to kind of make sure they know exactly where the things are. Firstly, it starts by me not having 2 things out immediately, like in the case of this, the 6 and the 4. The things that we're going to do are going to be introduced individually. So I start with the ace of spades, normally with this, and I'll say something. There's many things I'll say. I'll start by saying, look, I want to not just show you something impossible, but I want you to feel it and experience it. And that type of thing is rare. So you really have to try and hold on to it, okay? But let's see. And then I kind of go into the piece, and really subtly, I'm kind of creating this light idea of kind of giving them this experiential thing. They already know that it's not just something they're going to see, they're going to feel it or experience it. And I've said, like, you know, these are rare, so you've got to try and hold on to it. It's kind of lightly tongue-in-cheek way of kind of saying they're going to have to hold on to something, but it's going to be hard. And again, as we've talked about elsewhere, maybe that's they kind of encode or process that a bit deeper. And I always like to kind of try and create the opportunity for that. So I start by saying, okay, so I'm going to take out a card. I'm going to use the ace of spades for this, but I don't want you to have this. In fact, I'm going to put this in a pocket or something. We'll come back to this later. And, you know, I just put it in a pocket. Sometimes what I do is whenever I've done this for magicians, I often say, oh, I'm not ready to do this. So let me just take out this 8. You'll have to pretend that
you didn't see me do this bit. This is just me kind of getting ready. And I put this away, apparently. And in reality, I've stolen it back. And normally with magicians, they'll go, oh, yeah, sure, I didn't see that. And they just fully accept that that card has now gone into my pocket. With layman, I don't need to do that. With layman, I can just say, okay, so this is the ace of spades. If I have a jacket on, I'll often do this in an inside jacket pocket. If not, then I'll use a trouser pocket. It doesn't matter really at all. But I'll say, okay, so this is what I'm going to have. This is a very common card. It's normally something that everyone might name, so I don't want you to do that. I'll have this. This is the ace of spades. We'll come back to this a bit later on. And all I'm doing really is I'm putting this into a pocket, or a back pocket or a side pocket, and I'm palming it, okay? Putting it into the hand as I'm doing so. And then I'm going to come back out and I'm going to add this onto the deck as I move this up and say, would you take out any red one whatsoever? It doesn't matter. I take this out and that's exactly what they do. They take out a red card, okay? So let me just find one here. Oh, nope, here, there we go. They take out a red one. Now, as soon as they are taking that card out like this, and it's one of the reasons I often do it this way. Sometimes I'll do it this way, but the reason I do it this way now is that as I come down, I can now cleanly palm this card off in a natural way. I've done it I have to close and bring my hands together. They have to come down, so there's a lot of movement to do that palm in, which is going to be possible to see really. And then I either hand these to someone else or put these off to one side like this. And at this point, all they're doing is holding one card. They have absolutely no idea of anything else in play. And at this point, I say to them, okay, so what I want you to do, and then I say, well, let me show you. And the reason I say it this way is that if I say, oh, can I have the 5? They might say, no, I want to hold on to it. Or they might, I don't know, it might be awkward. But by saying what I want you to do, it means that they know already they've got to do something. And people, one of the things they want to do more than anything else is not look stupid. That's really what motivates a lot of people, especially in these types of scenarios, is not look foolish, not look stupid. So if you say, what I want you to do, in fact, let me show you, they're going to basically go, oh yes, please show me. Because if you show me what I've got to do, then I'm less likely to look stupid. That's basically what's happening in a nanosecond inside someone's mind. So I've got to get this from them effortlessly and easily in a way that I want. So they're holding this card in their hands, face up, and I say, what I want you to do, in fact, let me show you. I reach forward and now I'm going to have it face up in my hand like this as it comes from them. I then turn it down and often I hold it like this in like a biddle grip position in this hand. And I drop it into my hand like this. So I drop it and say, I want you to hold it in your hands. And then I come down with the other card on top like this. So at this point, I now have 2 cards in my hand, but they are only aware of 1. Let me recap that. So at the very beginning, I take this out, I put this into a pocket, and this has been introduced singly, this ace of spades. What I mean by that is, when I said at the beginning about being confused about the location of cards in a transposition, you're not going to be confused by this because I take this ace out and I say, oh, this is going to be mine, but we'll come back to this later on. It's the only one that exists. I've now added this back onto the deck, but it's very, very clear that I have the ace of spades as a result of that. I come forward and say, let's take out any red one, okay? So they take out a red one, and as they're taking that out, I palm this card off like this, or palm it into the right hand. I put this off to one side or wherever. I just put that down, give it to someone and say, okay, great. And at this stage, they just feel there's nothing in play. What I want you to do, in fact, let me show you. I come forward, I take this, I put it into my hand like this, and then I drop it like this. So it feels very single. Oh, I don't want to overdo it, but I say, what I want you to do is just hold it inside of your hand like this. And I put the other ace, the other card straight down on top, okay? Now, this is a really good and clean add-on. It can't be seen from anywhere. I say, I don't want you to let a corner of it stick out or have any of it visible. Try and keep it completely covered like this. And really all I'm doing is just keeping it square inside of my hand. Keep it just completely square. Now, we taught the palm switch elsewhere on this project so that you can actually learn this, but I'll run through it this roughly. I say, so hold both of your hands out. And at this stage, when you've done that, hold this inside of your hand. They just think, oh, I can definitely do that. I won't look stupid doing that. I can definitely do that. So The moment that I come forward and say, so hold both of your hands out, and they now see the flash of this card, like this. Hold both of your hands out, and they're going to start bringing both of their hands out, and they're going to really copy your hand movement. So just hold out both of your hands. As I come down, I'm going to do the palm switch. And because they're going to bring their hands out, palm up, like this, it means it gives me a reason to say, no, one on top of the other. Sorry. Okay, so I can say, hold both of your hands out. I come down, I do the move, no, one on top of the other. And then I hand this to them. I drop that in their hands, okay? Run through that again. We've talked, like I said, the palm switch elsewhere, you'll see this. So hold both of your hands out. No, one on top of the other. That's it, perfect. That's it, put them together. Okay, and they're now holding that card, locked inside of their hand, that they believe is the Four of Hearts, locked solidly inside of their hands. And the thing is that at this stage, there's nothing else it could be, because there were no other cards in play. There was no deck. There was nothing else. What else could it be? So, but really it's here. The ace is in the hand. A card that is lost somewhere else. So let me just run through that very quickly again. Boom, I palm this, I put this in a pocket, they take out this, say, now what I want you to do, in fact, let me show you. I come forward, I take this from them. I say, I want you to hold this Four of Hearts inside of your hand, but don't let like a corner of it stick out or anything like that. Just keep this totally locked inside. In fact, hold both of your hands out for me, one on top of the other, like this. I do that, like that. I put that in. Now you can see that happening in from that side angle camera here and from above. It's here, here, one on top of the other. It's very, very difficult to see that happening. Yeah, that's been switched out. They're now holding what they think is the four inside of their hands, and I now relax, okay? So I just relax and go, okay. So keep that locked inside. Now here's what we're gonna do. I want you to imagine that I'm gonna reach inside of my pocket, and I go into my pocket, and I leave this now Four of Hearts in my pocket. I'm gonna go into my pocket, and I immediately come out, take out the ace, and throw it into your hand, okay? Now, this is a really sneaky little load because what's going to happen here, originally one of the ways I used to do is I should just go in straight into my pocket and remove their card, showing that the transformation has taken place. A magician, I forget his name, he's a Russian magician, I forget, gave me this little bit. He said, when you go in, you could just leave the card there and then you're clean. I was like, that's genius. That's, so this is what I use. And I have been for the last few years as a result. It's very cool. So what I'm gonna do is say, look, I want you to imagine I go into my pocket, I take out the ace, I leave it there, I throw it into your hand. And now this is what I now do, which is what I love, is I'll say, so right now, there are two cards in your hand, the Ace of Spades and your card, the Four of Hearts. And I say it to them so seriously and deliberately that they think, well, hang on, you know, you're being so confident with this. This is crazy because I know that can't be the case. There's one in there. I then say, well, now I'm going to reach over and I'm going to take out your four and throw it into my pocket. And sometimes I'll do this. So now I have your four and you have my ace. And the reason I kind of set this up, I'm kind of giving the game away. But the reason is because this feels so impossible. They just think, well, there's no way that can be the case, okay? And that's why I like this. I don't need the surprise ending for this. This is more about kind of suspense, really, more than anything else. You're building this is a reaction that isn't from surprise. I mean, there's an element of surprise, but surprise that it's happened. But you're kind of building this sense of, wait, that's going to happen. How? And you're building this suspense towards that. And then I'll normally say something like, look, at this point, it's just an imagination game, okay? But the scary part is when something like this becomes real. And then this is when I reach in and I take theirs out first. And I look at it like this. And this is when I'll also say, yeah, like I said, these things are, these are hard to hold on to. You have to try and hold on to things like this, and it can slip through your fingers easily. Or I say things like something like that, which kind of links back to what I said at the beginning. And now they're left in this position where they're like, that was in my goddamn hand. There's just no way that can be the case. That cannot be the ace. And they turn this over, and obviously this is the ace. And there's no deck involved. The deck is gone. It's not even a factor. There's no double lifts. There's no top changes. There's nothing like that happening. There's just 2 cards. They were holding that one, and now they've just switched. This is such a direct and such a clean procedure. And it's one that will just mess their minds up. I run through that super quick at speed, okay? I'll do it and pretend that there's someone here. So I'm going to take the ace of spades out. You know, if you ask someone to name a card, they often name the ace. I don't want you to name that. This is, I'll have this, but we'll come back to this a bit later on. For now, you take out any red card. So they go through and they take out any red card like this. They hold onto this. As they come down, I palm, I put this over and say, okay, what I want you to do, in fact, let me show you, okay? I want you to hold this inside of your hands, but don't let like a corner of it stick out or anything. Keep this locked inside. So hold both of your hands out, like one on top of the other. That's it. Perfect. That's it. And keep it locked inside your hands. Okay, great. Now here's what we're going to do. I want you to imagine that I'm going to go into my pocket, take out that ace and throw it into your hand. Right now, there are 2 cards in your hand. One is your card and one is the ace. Now I'm going to take out your card like this. I'm going to throw it into my pocket, causing them to exchange places. Now, at this point, this, I suppose, is just an imagination game. But the scary part is when it becomes real. Look, go in. Like I said, these things can be hard to hold on to. Boomf, give this out, and then they open their hand. You don't have to say bump. That's just me in this environment where there's no people. Okay, now they have the ace. This is paper switch, and I've used this for many years. Surrounded. I always tend to work with someone on my far left, or as far left as possible, because I don't want the switch as I come over and do this. I don't want it to flash to someone on my extreme left, so I tend to work for someone on my left. In order to get this done, but it's from pretty much everywhere else. So even on this, it's kind of hard to kind of expose this. Even on the cameras, from the overhead position, it's very difficult to see a switch taking place. Even from the side camera, this is very difficult to see a switch taking place. And from this front camera, this is very difficult to see a switch taking place. This is pretty much covered from every angle, with the exception of this side one. Even the side one, if we don't have a camera on my extreme side, so I'll turn around to here. But even if we're in this position, if when I do this and I say, whoops, when I do this, I say, look, hold your hands out. Oh, so let me try this again. Right, hold both of your hands out. They're one on top of the other, right? They might see it then, but if I come towards myself, I can cover it even more. So hold both of your hands out. They're one on top of the other. That's it. I can cover it. Really difficult if someone's on that far extreme side. But it's why I just tend to bias myself around to this side, and then I'll be able to see it. So that's paper switch. That is a really cool thing. There is a cool little thing I can share with you about it. It's kind of a cool way that I do it. Sometimes I do this to 2 people, and I'll do it for the first person. And if I have 2 of them, I'll do it for the person that's on my far left. I do the whole routine for them. And really, I'm doing it for this person too. This person sees it all happen, right? But actually, no, that's not true. I don't do it in that way. What am I talking about? So I do it for 2 people, and I get the second person to not look. That's it, Benjamin. Gosh. So I say, right, don't look at this. I want to show this to you, and then I'm going to show this to you, okay? And it's important that you don't look. So I either get them to turn around, or I get them to like close their eyes or something. So I do the whole routine for this person. Then when the other person comes around, I now do it for this person with this other person on my left. And it means that as I do this whole sequence for the person on my right now, the person on my left is going to see everything. But it happens so fast that they can't really see it. So they're going to see all the palms and everything, but yet they're not going to be able to put 2 and 2 together. So I'll say, look, I'm going to use the ace. I don't want you to, choose that. So choose any red card, which they, can't see if there's a red card. There's a red card. Oh, with my signature on it. Choose any red card. In fact, would you hold on to those for me? Great. This is excellent. Now, you remember, this person in front of me is not seeing it, but this person on my left is. Oh, great, that's perfect. Would you hand this to me? I want you to hold this in your hand, but don't let like a corner of it stick out. Keep them together. Hold both of your hands out for me, one on top of the other. Perfect, that's it. I'm gonna go into my pocket like this. I'm gonna remove this, throw it into your hand. I do all this whole thing, and we do this like this, and we show this has happened. Now, what's interesting is you could say, well, hang on, you just exposed it for that person on the left. But the thing is, in the flow of it, it happens so quickly that they can't really describe what happens. They'll say, oh no, he switched it when they did this. I saw him do it the second time and it went in. And the other person says, no, it wasn't. There was just one card there. And they'll go, no, there was secretly another one. And they'll go, no, it wasn't. And when he came back, he was switching things in and out. And the other person goes, no, he didn't. I was holding it. I saw it. He had nothing. It's really interesting. I don't always do it that way, but it's really interesting with two people to have them walking off where one of them has had the experience and the exposure and the other one has just had the experience. It's also interesting sometimes, if I do that, is I'll just look at the person, I'll just say, don't say anything. Or I just look at them before we begin and I wink. So I'll just kind of wink at them as if they kind of letting them in, right? And at the end of this process, and I do it for this person as well, and they're reacting, I'll say, something like, secrets, we keep secrets for them, or, whatever it is, or it's fun to keep secrets, isn't it? And so now they've got this weird form of power of like, I don't think I will say anything. And I don't know, I like playing with that routine in that way. And paper switch is a very, very powerful 2-card transposition. It feels super clean. It's right out there in the open. It is difficult to do. It is something that is going to require unflinching audacity, I think. What was it that Erdnase said? Masterful feats of unflinching audacity, or masterful palming. What was it? I can't remember now off the top of my head. Been smart. It's too late for me to remember. Masterful palming and unflinching audacity, I think is what he said. I think that it is a daunting routine to do because you've got an initial putting something in, palming, putting it out, adding a replacement, palming straight back off again, holding it out, taking something back, switching it, doing a palm switch, putting a load, coming out and doing it. It's a lot of stuff happening in flow, but it's actually using very simple means. It's simple, actually, in a way. It's not easy to do, but it's simple and direct. And of all of the things like that I've ever played with, it's the only thing that really kind of hits in that way. It just feels so connected. It's right in their hands and with them, and they suspect nothing. So paper switch, absolutely worth all of your time. Look at the palm switch that we talked about in the technique section. Now you can see how that's been utilized in this routine. You can see in the performances how I'm flowing through it. It's a real world killer. It's not just a kind of a niche thing for magicians. This is something I've used on real people in the real world, and I hope that you start doing it too. Enjoy.